Okay, now I want to talk about how what the process is when a period comes to the close when you're on the remote logging tool. Okay, so I'm still in the same game that I was in my last video. We'll pick up here where there's 12 seconds left in the first period. And I've got my players on the ice, and as the clock winds down, you'll notice when it turns to 0, the clock will go from green to red without me touching anything. And now you got to remember that everything that I've logged so far in this period has already been thrown over to the Thunder machine and is populated with all the clip types that the Thunder operator was logging. So at this point, what I want to do, since the period is over, I need to first make sure that I close out all the players, or an error will come up. So I'm going to close all. It deselects everybody. It does not matter what strength that I was on at the time. Okay, and then I'm going to click on Setup and Reports. And now that the game is over, I want to be able to create a report for the coaching staff. So to do that, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on Print Scouted TOI. That means I'm going to print a report, a time on ice report. That's what TOI stands for, time on ice, of my scouted team, which we already remember is always going to be our team, Shenendehowa. So when I click that, it's going to generate a report and send it to this address, which is a folder that I have created on the desktop for TOI reports. When I hit print, the information is going to come up from my initial screen when I created the output file. I want to select Game 9 versus Saratoga Period 1. I want to be able to create a PDF report based on the information that I just logged in this file, and then I'll hit open. Wait a second, and a dialog box will pop up saying that the report was created. So when I click OK, I'll just minimize this for a second. You'll notice that this folder icon, which once didn't have a PDF image inside the folder, now does, because there's a document in that folder. Okay, so if I double click on the TOI reports folder, you'll see the document is there. It's titled Shenendehowa Saratoga TOI for time on ice. Double click that, and it gives the coaching staff a breakdown of all the players, how many different shifts they had, their total amount of time on ice, and it even breaks it into, how many minutes they spent on the ice when it was even versus if it was a power play or a penalty kill. Okay. Now, if I repeat this for at the end of the second and the third period, that information will populate or get generated, on this report underneath the first period. You can see first period, and then this is the game total through first period. Down here would be second period and the game total, and same with down on the bottom for the third period. Okay, it's a very handy tool for the coaching staff to have. And something to keep in mind as you're closing out the period. The next thing I'm going to need to do before we start the second period is just to simply click the period drop down, select period 2, and once again click on the Setup and Reports tab. It'll slide it on over. I reset my clock to 15 minutes, and I can get ready to put the next group of players on the ice when the opening face-off begins. Okay, and I'll repeat this process at the end when this clock ticks down to 0. I'll make sure that I close all, and then I go back to my Setup and Reports, and I click this button to generate another report. But at this time you would see something for period 2, because before that starts, you're going to change the file up here. One last thing about the remote logger. There's a couple different views you guys can choose from. If you just don't want to, if you like the idea of being able to switch what side our players line up on as they relate to your vantage point from where you're logging from. If all of a sudden our bench is on the right side, you can do this by simply clicking this button where it says switch sides, and it'll put Shen Plainsman on the right and Saratoga on the left. Okay, so typically when we're in a home game, might be the setup that you're going to want. If we're in the second period, it's totally up to you. It's not going to affect the way that events are logged. The other option is to show the single view, and that would take Saratoga right off of here, and you would have a view more like this. Okay, you're definitely going to always want to have show TOI logging as listed, and this is something, the show event logging, you're going to want to keep up because we might use this in the future. And that's it.